Hey, I'm actually making this video specifically for Jay Leno because I think I found the next car for his collection. I actually thought about Jay Leno when I saw this car sitting under a lean-to at Alex Attard's place. He is actually a body restoration guy for Bernie Pollard, which was a guy who collected cars all through the 1930s and 40s, probably your first car collector. He loved brass era cars. And during World War II, the government saw that he had all these cars collected here in Detroit, and they ended up telling him he needed to scrap it. He ends up going to Congress and saying, if we win the war, we're not going to have any American history left. So he was able to preserve a large number of these brass era cars that are around today. And that was actually some of the history on this vehicle. It was chained up in a barn in one of Pollard's garages here in Detroit, and in the 70s it was given to Alex Attard, who was the body guy, and the title is actually still in Bernie Pollard's daughter's name. So it's really interesting to have the history on this. This is one of 3 cars in the world that are known right now. One's in the Peterson as a hot rod, the other one's in private hands. It goes to the concours every once in a while here in Auburn Hills, and then the third one's right here. So this is, like I said, 1914 Princess. It has the French styling like a Renault with the curved hood. It reminds me a little bit of a Franklin, but my dad just made the wheels for it. We've had this car actually just kind of tinkering on it. We got it running and driving, and we always talked about selling this to Jay. We like his method, the way he restores stuff, since he's a custodian of the car and not just an owner. He drives them. They're open to the public, and I'd hate to sell this to private collector where it'll never be seen again, or to a museum where it'll never be driven. So Jay, you're our guy. I really want to sell you this car. I want to show you around a little bit. So, like I said, my dad remade the wooden wheels, and I'll actually grab one of the other wooden wheels that later on that he actually remade, but he remade them identical. He's a retired woodworker. He had the steel actually custom made for the size in Australia, and then ordered these tires brand new. We actually just drove it. It goes down, all tires and everything. The wheels run true, and I'm just really impressed with his craftsmanship on that. The interior, everything's all original on this. We debated on restoring the vehicle, but really this car has a story to tell. We know the history on it, and I feel like restoring it might take something away from it. I actually restore cars professionally, and sometimes it's just cool to have the story be told by the way that the body is, like the way it is now. It'll never be like this again. You can see there's slight damage to this rear fender here from when they lowered it down in the barn at Bernie Pollard's place in the 70s, where it was chained up to the ceiling. Just absolutely incredible to know the history on this little car. I don't think this car is actually driven that much. 1914, I imagine somebody bought it and it got outdated pretty quickly and pushed into a garage, because when I restore a lot of these old ones, all the wood's rotted out. All the wood in the inside is still like a carriage, obviously. Jay, you know that. But it's completely solid. It's incredible. Even the metal's solid. It has a dusting of rust, but really I think it's because it was painted red, so you're seeing more red old paint on here than you are rust. Here's the original boot in here. The original floor mats are in here. There's a little horn in here. I don't know if that was original or not, but it's all this stuff is here, to take patterns off of. Obviously the boot and stuff isn't something that you would probably really use, but amazingly enough, it's all there. We have the bows for the top. They're just in the barn right now because I was driving it, and the bows, my dad was going to remake the wooden parts. We just never got there yet, but we have all the pieces. That's funny. These doors actually, one opens suicide style and one opens regular. I didn't ever really figure out why that is. Maybe there's just not enough room with the steering wheel here. But it is kind of comical trying to get in and out of this with the doors going opposite ways. There's the door opening up. Shifts smoothly. It's got a Warner transmission in it. It has a Holley carburetor, and it has a Masnick Phillips engine. It's made in Detroit. We'll get into that, I guess, right now. But it's cool to see all the original interior is still here. I think actually if I did anything more on the car, I might have the interior redone and just leave the body the way it is. But you know what? That would be for the next owner to decide, because if it was restored to original, it'd be beautiful as well. The original headlamps were actually taken off, and they were crushed for the war effort to make bullet casings. They would have been a nice brass round lamp. Somebody put these lamps on here. This is a World War I tail light, actually. So That is not original to the vehicle, but at least I know what happened to the part, and I think it's part of the story of the car, and I think it's kind of neat. So let's pull this hood off. I have it actually unscrewed because we were working on it. Get in there and take a look. Here's that Masnick Phillips engine. All I did was I rebuilt the magneto, rebuilt the carburetor here, and took a look inside the side cover just to kind of see what was going on in the engine. Pulled the plugs out, actually replaced some of this ignition stuff. Looked down in the cylinders, I couldn't believe there's no rust. Normally I put a little Marble Mystery Oil in there. They've been sitting for a long time. I did put some Mystery Oil in there, but it didn't need it. It was rust-free. The side cover, couldn't believe it. All the tappets and everything, rust-free. It looked like it was machined yesterday. And I was skeptical if it would fire up. It fired right up. Couldn't believe it. So yeah, this is a good little running engine. Transmission works, the clutch works. So we'll actually drive this in a minute for you. I'm going to start it up. We're missing the radiator cap, but I'm sure we could sort that out. Find one. I think we're ready to start it up. What do you think, Dad? All right, so I could probably start this with by hand here, but I'm just going to turn the gas on here, and I'm going to use, I made a cement mixer starter here. What I did, I just took a cement mixer to make it an electric start. It's a little easier on you. That's it. Fires right up. Yeah, the original exhaust, you can get under there, but it's just amazing how rust-free the vehicle is and how many of the original parts, it's all there. Wild. And it's so quiet too. See if I can remember reversing. Not bad, man. 1914. Alrighty, Jay. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you want to buy this old girl.